In this video, I'm going to walk you through the hidden market formula and how I use buyer psychology to sign on high-ticket coaching clients. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Josh Bowers and I've been in the online coaching space since December of 2019. I've made a little bit over $1.5 million in cash collected over the last few years across 2 different coaching offers. The first offer that I ran was called the Bikini Body Project. This was an all-women's transformation program where I had 300 women go through the program, and at its peak, I had 100 active clients with no team supporting it. I then jumped the fence into business coaching 6 months after closing that down in 2022 to start Freedom Coach, which is exactly what I do now. It's business coaching for other online fitness coaches where I help them scale online using a combination of conversion content and hyper-targeted ads. Now, the purpose of these videos is to walk you through all of the things that have worked for me over the years, the things that haven't worked, and the things that I'm currently doing now in my business and also with my clients as well. So let's actually dive into this pyramid. Back in, I think it's 1966, a man by the name of Eugene Schwartz wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising. Now, this is a famous book in the advertising space. If you haven't sort of read that, I would highly encourage you just to have a flick through it. It is like an encyclopedia, but very important thing came out of that book for me, which was the 5 stages of awareness. Now, when somebody is going to buy something, people don't just suddenly wake up one day and go, I'm going to buy that thing. And when I say buy that thing, I'm talking about joining your high-ticket coaching program, refilling the container of coffee they have at home, changing the light bulb they have, putting petrol back in their car. Whatever it is, people don't just wake up one day and go, I need to fix that problem in my life. We go through these different psychological stages when it comes to purchasing something. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep all of the context around selling high-ticket coaching clients. So if you're a fitness coach, your clients, funnily enough, your target client doesn't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to join a coaching program to help me lose weight. Leading up to this decision, there has been 3 to 4 different psychological stages that person has to go through before making the decision to actually make a change, or in this case, join your coaching program, join my coaching program, whatever it might be. Now, these different stages are unaware, problem aware, information gathering mode, and buying now. We have these different stages and they're broken up into quadrants. So we have 3% of any given market in the buying now stage. We have 17% of any given market in information gathering mode. We have 20% in problem aware, and 60% of any given market is unaware. Now, what this means, if we were to just sort of break down these different stages before getting into the nitty-gritty of it, unaware essentially means that this person doesn't really realize that they have a problem yet, or they're in denial. Now, this applies to any stage or any level of a market. So if you're working with track and field athletes, there's going to be some track and field athletes out there that have no idea that the striking placement of their foot when they are sprinting is off and it's causing them to slow down. Some of them will know this, but some of them won't. Excuse me. Just like how other people, let's say it's a fat loss offer, there's people out there, 60% of people out there who haven't really had the realization yet of like, oh, I'm overweight. Okay, I actually have a weight problem here. Like there's something wrong with my body weight. They haven't woken up to that fact yet. And I know that sounds crazy that you would think like, as if people don't know they have these problems. Well, what you don't know, right? As we move up this pyramid though, 20% of any given market realizes that they have a problem, but they don't know what to do about it yet. So let's just keep things really simple for the example today, and we'll just use a client who wants to lose weight. 20% of any weight loss market, regardless of how advanced or beginner that person is, 20% have realized that, oh, okay, I'm actually overweight, and now I can kind of see how my body actually looks. Like I've woken up to this problem. I've had this realization. What do I sort of do about this? So at this stage here, psychologically, this person is now in more of like a contemplation sort of stage. They're like thinking about the problem, they're ruminating on it, but they're not necessarily at a point where they are like ready to change and get the weight off. Now, how fast or how slow somebody moves through these different stages is very, very independent per person. There's no like exact timeline on this. Someone can go from completely unaware to buying now in a matter of hours. Sometimes it can be a matter of years. I've got clients that I've worked with that have had people who have been in their ecosystem for 5 to 7 years before they actually sign up to their coaching programs, which is mind-blowing to me, but people just move through these stages at different paces. The next level up is our information gathering mode. Now, in this stage here, this person who is overweight is now seeking solutions to get the weight off. They're trying to understand why they are overweight. They're trying to figure out which diet to use, what's wrong with their sleep, what's wrong with their training, their nutrition. All they're doing now is they are jumping onto Google, jumping onto AI and researching. They're in information gathering mode. So at this stage here, this is where they're downloading freebies, lead magnets, and this is where they're on YouTube consuming and in ChatGPT going back and forth talking about their diet and trying to understand why they are actually overweight in the first place. Once they spend enough time in this category, they've gotten enough information, they've potentially become product aware. This is the 5th stage that I don't really count in this, because my approach to this is this person is generally already somewhat in your ecosystem and they sort of know who you are, because I'm taking this principle and applying it to social media. So once someone is in information gathering mode, they've likely started to get hit with ads that are selling coaching programs and fat loss shakes and whatever it might be, right? They've also come across a couple of different products, and those products is you, the coach. They're now looking at a couple of different coaches and starting to make a decision on, okay, I know I have this problem. I know that I probably need to do X, Y, Z things. I don't know if I can do this myself. I think I need some assistance with this. So they start looking at different coaches. And then what will happen is they will see some sort of offer, a call to action, and then go, I think that's the one for me. And then that's when they ascend up into this buying now category. So somebody will go through these stages psychologically before they jump into your coaching program. Now, here's why I'm like fascinated with the psychology behind all of this, because it also gives us a massive advantage once you understand how this works. And this is why 95% of marketers are attacking the 3% of people who want to buy right now. It's like the red ocean. There's a million and one other coaches in there trying to sell programs. You've got the meal prep companies, you've got protein powder companies, you've got every different, let's say weight loss for the context here, every different weight loss solution or health improvement is trying to sell people things in this percentage of the market, in this buying now category. Why is that? It's pretty obvious. This person is ready to solve their problems. They're ready to actually buy something. They're like, okay, I'm ready to fix the problem. Somebody sell me something. It's sort of what's happening unconsciously in their mind. But here's the thing, like I said, every man and his dog is trying to attack this percent of the market. So let's just imagine this on a grander scale. You have 100 people in a stadium and only 3 of those people want to buy some sort of solution to a problem. Like let's say they want to buy a fat loss program. 100 people, only 3 of them are actually ready to hand over money. But then what you have is hundreds of coaches running ads and putting up CTAs and things like that, trying to attack this area of the market. So imagine having 100 people in a stadium, 3 people want to buy, but then there's another 100 coaches in that same stadium, all trying to sell something to those 3 people. Guess how competitive that's going to be? Pretty damn competitive if you ask me. And the only way that you can stand out is by what? Spending more money on ads to try and get in front of those 3% of people more, talking louder, so posting more content, and just trying to really aggressively get to the front of the queue so somebody wants to buy you. Now, if there is nothing unique about you, you don't have a crazy physique, you don't have some sort of social authority, let's say a large following, you don't have lots of content, it's going to be even harder for you to stand out in this portion of the market because there are so many other coaches that you're going up against. So this is where I get fascinated because I'm like, okay, cool. Well, if only 3% of the market want to buy right now, that means that 97% of the market just doesn't want to buy right now. That doesn't mean that they don't want to buy. They're just not ready yet. And that's the key word. And this is where you can start to use psychology and understand specifically these different stages that your overall market is going to be at. Because here's the thing, it's like you might just be thinking about trying to make one sale, but you're going to have a whole bunch of people here in this unaware category, a whole bunch of people here in this unaware, a whole bunch in the info mode, and then a whole bunch in buying now. But this is still your overall niche and your overall market. So there's still thousands of people out there. They're just all at different stages. So for me, I'm like, when I first discovered this, I was like, okay, I think what I could try and do here is, why don't I create my own blue ocean, and why don't I just go after the 97% of people who aren't ready to buy just yet? But if I can get in their heads and I can understand what specific stage each of these people are at, and then craft a message to talk to that stage, to introduce myself, to potentially create awareness around a problem, to give a solution to a problem, to give more information about a method, there's a pretty good chance that that person's going to start to like me, because they're going to see that maybe I put a mirror in front of them and now they see they have a problem. They're like, hey, that guy made me realize I have that problem. Well, maybe he knows more about that. So what do? They lean in and they go, well, what else do you know? Then they move into problem aware, and then they move into information gathering mode, and then all of a sudden they're ready to buy. Who do you think they're going to pick now out of the hundreds of coaches who are marketing to them? Well, probably me, because I've now spent so much more time building trust with these people in this portion of the market. The one big caveat to this is that it can just take time moving people through these stages. And it's the long-term play. This is where a lot of coaches go wrong, and this is where a lot of like old advertisers who are still stuck in their ways, they go, well, I don't have time to spend moving people through stages, and I don't want to do that. It sounds like too much work. So what do? They try and just sell to that 3%. And you can still do this. People still run ads just selling to the 3%, but it is so freaking competitive, and ad costs alone are really, really high because of that competition. So now the question pops up in your mind. Okay, Josh, I kind of get it. We've got 60% of the market, no idea they're overweight. 20% of these people realize they're overweight, but they don't really know what to do about it yet. 17% of these people are searching for solutions and trying to figure out what is going to be the best pathway that they can walk on to get from A to B. And then 3% of any given market is ready to buy. I understand. All right, cool. How do we do that? How do we actually apply this? And how do we apply this to coaching? Well, this is where you have to start to get a little bit more strategic with understanding these different stages. And it starts from the bottom of the pyramid and it works all the way up. So before you even get into the how do we figure out these different stages, I want to figure out who is the person we even want to help in the first place anyway. That's going to be your biggest thing, is like, who is the person? You need to know your niche. This is literally step one in this process, is understanding who that target person is that you actually want to, market towards. Because if you don't know your niche, you can't really formulate a message. And that's pretty much what this little box here will tell you. You need to go hyper specific when it comes to the niche. Why is that? Because that formulates the messaging. A lot of coaches make the mistake of just trying to market to generalize things. Do you want to look better? Do you want to feel more confident? Do you want to feel healthy? Do you want to get strong? Do you want to get in shape? They say these really generic, really vague terms that really negatively impact their marketing, and it waters down their message, and it ends up landing on no one. So imagine that you are trying to sell to those 3 people, but you're just saying, hey, I help people get in shape. I help people get in shape. It doesn't really apply to anybody, because everybody wants to kind of get in shape. But if you have another person that's like, I help, let's say, blue-collar workers lose 30 kilos in 16 weeks with my tradie blueprint program, now all of a sudden, someone starts to stand out a little bit more out of those people that your target people are looking at to buy. The coach actually starts to stand out because they have really specific messaging. So the first layer of this pyramid is your niche and offer. You must have clarity on this, otherwise nothing else is going to work. Nothing else is going to fall into place. You have to really take my word for this. If you don't have clarity on your niche and your messaging, none of it's going to work. Now you'll see here that I've got You Are the Niche and it's highlighted. It's March 2026 right now at the time of filming this. And I've been in the game for 5 years now, roughly. And when I started, you could just pick any old niche. You know, I chose women that want to build a bikini body. You could choose firefighters that want to lose 30 pounds and, you know, qualify for the next stage of being a sergeant or whatever it is. Like, I don't know anything about firefighting. But that stuff isn't really working anymore because it's quite generalized and it puts you in a box when it comes to creating content. So I am a firm believer these days that you are the niche. And what that means is that hopefully you've achieved some sort of transformation in your journey, and then all you're doing is going back in time and helping yourself at that point, which you might feel like you're unique, and you are, but you know, even though Granny said you were special, you're not that special. There are thousands of other people out there who are in that exact same spot that you once were. But the key is that you once were, right? Which means you were there, now you're not, and you are qualified to help somebody get out of that situation to get to where you are. So you are now in your current position, technically point B. They are at point A. You want to help them bridge that gap, right? So we have to have clarity on the niche, and then we also have to have a really good offer, right? You can understand who you want to work with, but if you don't have an offer that somebody actually wants, a solution to a problem in this case, then nobody's going to want to buy from you anyway. You could have the best, you know, content going out, but if your offer is crap, again, nobody's actually going to buy. So this forms the first layer of the pyramid. Now let's dig into the unaware stage. So when you're trying to market to this stage, we're looking at leveraging short form content, and the objective of this content is to just hold a mirror up to that person's current situation. Because you have to remember is that if this person is unaware, they don't know they have a problem. So if you're trying to sell something to somebody who has no idea they have a problem, what are they going to immediately do? Oh, that's not for me. They disqualify themselves because they don't even know they have a problem yet. So when you're creating content, because that's all you can really do in this stage, and mind you, if you're running ads, it's still content, but whatever content you're creating at this stage, it's just holding a mirror up to their situation. So you can talk about your own story, you can talk about client stories. Essentially, all you're trying to do is raise awareness on these problems. So you just talk about problems, and then you want to make the viewer sort of self-qualify where they go, oh, that's me. I didn't realize that that's why that thing was happening in my life. And that makes a lot of sense. Now I see why this thing's been happening, right? So they create awareness around that problem. If you're running paid traffic, you can create Instagram follow ads for this. And they work, but like I'm more of a fan of like problem aware follow ads, which I'll get into in a moment, but you can create content and then also run this as a follower ad as well. But you have to kind of pack in the problem aware stage into this unaware stage into one video where you're trying to take people from unaware to problem aware, and then you're talking about the problem in that ad. So the follow ads do work here, but nowhere near as good as the problem aware and information gathering mode stages. But essentially the type of content here, like I said, is just creating awareness around problems. Now, problem aware is still creating content, still running follower ads, but now it's specific education solving their problems. So here is where you can talk about different problems and then introduce solutions to those problems. This is where a lot of coaches will thrive, because here and in your information gathering mode, these two pieces of this pyramid is where you can dig really deep into your education content, your teaching content, your value content, and all you're doing through these stages is providing value and solving problems, or at best, just introducing solutions. So here, all this could be is like, the best way to lose weight in 2026 is by eating less food than what you consume each day. Here's how it works. And I know that you're watching this going, well, duh, that's a no-brainer. But there are people out there that don't know this, right? All you're doing is, again, now highlighting solutions to fix the problem. And you're trying to just wake them up to the fact of like, hey, if you're overweight, here's some things that you can do. Here's how you can fix it. Once people have been cooking in this stage, they then move into this information gathering mode stage. So this is where your own unique magic can really start to kick in. So we're looking at posting content still, short form, but here's where you can introduce long form content. So this video that you're watching right now, if you were to zoom out on this, I'm taking you through an unaware, probably all the way through to information gathering mode stage in one video, because I'm like, hey, did you know that this is probably why you can't sign on high ticket clients, is because you don't even realize that you're not using buyer psychology, right? And I'm helping you now understand all of this. So long form content is good because it brings people closer to you and they can feel that connection with you. You can start to use things like VSLs. So you can have long VSLs where it's maybe more of an informative educational style one, or you can go into something short that's like actually selling something and moving people into buying now. You need to be showing case studies. You need to be showcasing proof. You need to be showing your own results. And then through here as well, you need to now start educating on your unique mechanism. Your unique mechanism is essentially all your different unique little ways of doing things bundled up into your process, into how you help someone get from A to B. Your unique approach is your unique mechanism. So here is where you can talk about how you think that strength training is the number one priority and only focusing on compound movements, and why isolation machines are really bad. Here's where you can start to talk about why you think high carb diets are the best diets and why keto diets are terrible, right? You start to become a lot more opinionated on things and you say, well, this is the way that I think is the best way to do it. This here is where now people are starting to go, I follow a few people, because remember, they're in information gathering mode. They are searching for information. So in this stage, they're probably looking at a couple of different coaches, and now they're just using their own discernment to go, I don't know if I like her or him. I think I like her maybe more than him. But you might post a video up that's about a certain thing and they're like, oh, I think I actually really buy into your way of doing things. I like him the best. So they start to lean into you more. So this is why it's really important that you are talking a lot about your different methods that you use within coaching to get people the result that you promise them. When it comes to ads, this is where your follower ads really start to thrive, because if someone is in information gathering mode, what does that tell you? It tells you that somebody is searching for solutions to their problem. They are actively seeking information. Now, the best way that a follower ad works is the shortest sort of explanation on the framework is, do you have this problem? Well, I know how to fix it. Follow me. So what are they going to do? They're going to come to your profile and they're going to want to learn from you. If the content on your profile is not good, your follower ad is not going to convert. How do you get your content good? By understanding this first layer of the pyramid. But again, your follower ads will work in unaware, problem aware, and information gathering mode. Any paid advertising is going to work in these different stages, but what comes out of your mouth and the message that you articulate is what will make people move through these stages or not, or it's what's going to make the ad or piece of content perform or not. Here is where we can start to heavily rely on retargeting advertising as well. Because if someone's in information gathering mode, that tells you that they're probably not far off buying now. So we can also run proof retargeting. We can retarget people back to VSL videos, YouTube videos, long form stuff. We can now also start to put people into this buying now category. So we'll essentially take someone from seeking solutions, and we might run a retargeting ad that's like, hey, are you this person wanting to solve this? Well, our coaching program can do blah, blah, blah. Here's some proof. Here's what our offer is. Do you want to work with us? And now we can start to get people into that buying now category. Or you'll have people in buying now that are just ready to buy right now. But this is where we can start to leverage a lot of retargeting content as well. Your final stage is the one that everybody loves to talk about the most, the buying now stage, because this is where people are actually starting to hand over cash to you. So once someone is in buying now, they're just waiting to have the right offer put in front of them. They're kind of waiting for the right time or when things feel right, or they just haven't necessarily had the right call to action put in front of them to make them take action. So when we're trying to approach this stage here, and I'm looking at this through the lens of like feed content and ads and that sort of thing, social media, let's say, I don't really like to use much feed content, like organic feed content that tries to go after the buying now. People don't go onto social media to be sold to. They go onto social media to doom scroll, to consume content. So if all we are doing is just trying to sell to people in feed content, it's making a not enjoyable experience while they're doom scrolling. So instead, where I love to sell and actually promote is using story sequences. So this is promoting on your Instagram stories. This is putting up keyword CTAs, so you can have one in your bio. You could have a retargeting ad that's running with the keyword CTA. You can have your direct offer ads, which is essentially going to be a keyword CTA. You can have then all sorts of different advertising that's running to potentially a cold market trying to sell to this. But at this point here, as you've hopefully realized in the video, is that if you're just trying to go after the 3% of people who want to buy now, it's really competitive. So again, I'm just going to rely heavily on retargeting ads, because by this time here, I should have just built up this whole audience, right? And this is now going to be a big pool of people. This should be in the thousands at this point, because I've been posting content, I've been running follower ads, I've been building my audience. So there's thousands of people that have, had a touch point with me. So I'm just going to try and post more content and run more ads back to this audience to move people through these different psychological stages. When you do this with the right structure in place, it allows you to create a conveyor belt for signing on high ticket clients. But the hardest part of this entire thing, and this is why I put the sort of foundational element in this pyramid here, is that if you don't have your niche and offer locked in, if you don't have this section here crystal clear, nothing's going to work. Even if you're running just cold ads, direct offer ads to the 3%, if you still don't have this absolutely nailed, they're still not going to work. So the whole thing that I want you to sort of get from this video is that you need to understand your niche and offer really, really well. If you're a client of mine watching this, you would know how much time I spend in the beginning of us working together doing this. I myself put myself through a niche and offer sort of document reflection all the time. I'm constantly revising this because this is where the money lies. Your next step is then learning how to craft a message that can speak to these different stages within your content and your paid marketing, and you will create that conveyor belt for signing on high ticket clients. Hope you got some value from this video, and I'll see you inside of the next one.